Hello and thank you for joining me on this beautiful Saturday or Sunday evening, depending on how long I managed to procrastinate talking about Black Ops 4 Zombies. Today, our subject is, of course, Dead of the Night. You may have scrolled past this video, paused, went back, and realized, I forgot this map existed. I don't blame you. I did the same thing. I woke up this morning and I remembered, I gotta talk about Dead of the Night for a couple of hours. I forgot this map even existed. I thought we were doing Ancient Evil next. First impressions are everything. If you reach across the table and spill water all over a girl on your first date, you're probably not getting a second one because in her mind, you're just a careless fool who doesn't even know how to use his own arms. And when you really think about it, DLC 1 is the ultimate first impression. The launch content doesn't have to be extraordinary. It just has to be good enough because people are typically enamored with the game being new. The game is fresh and exciting, but it's around DLC 1 when that feeling begins to wear off and people are expecting new and better content. DLC 1 is the ultimate first impression. If DLC 1 flops, the rest of the game is not going to go well. And that's exactly what happened with Black Ops 4 Zombies. Dead of the Night was an awful first impression. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of the launch maps are atrocious. I am not a big fan of Voyage of Despair or Blood of the Dead, but the fact that the game was new and everything was fresh about it sort of overrided that. It's like getting a brand new car. You're enamored with it, you're excited about it, and it's not until a couple of months later that you begin to realize that you actually don't love the color of it. You can get away with one poor launch map. You can't, however, get away with a poor DLC 1 map because, like I said, DLC 1 is the very important first impression. It sort of gives you an idea as to what the rest of the game is going to be like. And Dead of the Night was a very poor first impression. But how? You may be wondering. How was Dead of the Night a bad first impression? It all begins with marketing. Where the fuck was it? It's sort of a given that before you release a brand new Zombies map to the public, you release some sort of trailer or some sort of cutscene in advance to get people excited, to get people hyped for the map. Because the last thing you want is for people to be not only unaware, but unexcited for a Zombies map. For example, DLC 1 of Black Ops 3 Zombies, Uninteresting. Weeks in advance before the map launched, you had trailers, epic trailers that were getting people excited, got people talking about the map. And it also just so happened that Uninteresting is one of the best maps of all time, therefore DLC 1 was successful, therefore the rest of the game was successful. Dead of the Night, on the other hand, did not market. They did absolutely everything in their power to not get people excited, to not get people hyped for this experience. Not one trailer, not one gameplay trailer, that is. I do believe they may have uploaded the intro cinematic on YouTube one day in advance. I'm not even sure about that. But that's clearly not enough, even if that was the case. They didn't upload any trailers. They didn't post anything on Twitter or Instagram regarding it. If you weren't around during this time, I kid you not, they literally just released the map. That was it. Nobody was expecting it. Not one person, which is obviously a major issue and a major contributor as to why this map failed and why the rest of Black Ops 4 failed as a result. Because people didn't have enough time to absorb and get excited for the map. Any successful Zombies map had some sort of trailer in advance, except for maybe Nocturne Toten, because it was the first map ever. But you get my point. Without marketing, you're eliminating all hopes of someone on the outside who doesn't own Black Ops 4 to then see the trailer, go purchase the game, and then play Dead of the Night. And you're also eliminating a large percentage of players who do already own the game, but are simply unaware of it. But at the end of the day, you will have a small percentage of hardcore players that will play the map regardless. When you and I log into the game, we see that Dead of the Night has released, and we play it. But the fact that so many other people have been cut off from this map already is alarming. So we finally load up the map and the first thing we see is of course the intro cinematic and we are introduced to our new characters. Yeah, Dead of the Night didn't do great in this department either. I'm not saying I hate these characters, but what reason do I have to care about them? They're a spin-off of a spin-off. They're not the Primus or Ultimus crew that we're familiar with. They're not even the Chaos crew that just got introduced. They're a branched off version of the Chaos crew. We just got introduced to a brand new crew that we already weren't huge fans of, and now we're getting introduced to another one, which are really just nameless faces that have no genuine purpose. I honestly don't remember the names of any of these characters. I think one of them is Godfried. Fucking who knows? Who cares? Yes, some of that has to do with me personally not caring enough to delve deeper into it. But I shouldn't have to. You know, back in the day with the Ether storyline, with our Ultimus crew, I didn't have to look deeper into it. I fell in love with their quotes. They were funny and intriguing characters, which slowly grew over me. But what this felt like to me was, hey, here's an unimportant cast of characters who just so happen to be celebrity voiced. It doesn't really matter to me. And as a result of me not being particularly interested in these characters, I don't really care about what their mission is or what the premise of this map is. It's really all sort of an enigma to me. And as a result of that, I never did the Easter egg, and it's sort of just a chain reaction of not caring because the characters just didn't allow me to. So for the small fraction of players who managed to get past the poor marketing, we were slapped in the face with an uninteresting premise, an uninteresting set of characters, and just a relatively boring concept. All of these issues plagued Dead of the Night before we even spawned in for the very first time. Before we even began playing this map, people were either unaware of it or uninterested in it. Thanks largely to poor marketing and a long, dragged-out intro cinematic featuring another new set of characters that provide us with no reason to care about them. Honestly, Treyarch's failure to properly market Dead of the Night alone is the reason for its failure. I mean, nobody was even aware of the map to begin with. It just fell out of the sky, landed on our laps, and we had no expectations. However, I hear you loud and clear. What makes a bad map is not poor marketing, it's a poor design. I mean, marketing really has nothing to do with the gameplay itself. It just disables people from getting in there in the first place. So let's put the poor marketing aside, and let's put the characters and the story and the Easter egg aside as well. Let's look at the raw gameplay. Let's look at the map design here. Let's give Dead of the Night a fair shot, because a map could be marketed poorly, a movie or anything could be marketed poorly, but still be pretty good. It doesn't really affect the quality of it. So let's give it a shot. You spawn in one of two rooms, which is an uncommon feature, but it's a feature that I really enjoy. We've seen it in the past with maps like Verrucht, where your team is split up from the very beginning and have to link up in a central location. In Verrucht's case, the power switch, which is the most essential component of that map, and in Dead of the Night's case, the Sentinel artifact, which acts in the same way. This adds a unique twist to the map. It splits up your team so that you have to perform at your very best ability to get to the power switch together alive. Otherwise, half of your team is going to die. We applaud Verrucht for applying this, and I think we should do the same for Dead of the Night. Dead of the Night did a great job of making things interesting early. After activating the Sentinel artifact, what's next, alongside grabbing miscellaneous parts, is obtaining the 3 tuning forks to activate Pack-a-Punch. In order to obtain these, you need to find 3 wisps around the map, knife them open, and feed them zombie souls. When you do that, you can look within, see the object you need to find, and go find that object. In this case, it's a noose, telling me that I'd be better off hanging myself than continuing this game, so I need to go find the noose. When I find it, Ghost Bitch pops out of thin air and leads me to the tuning fork. Oftentimes, I lose her. Where did Shoddy go? I don't know. This is one of the reasons why I don't like the Pack-a-Punch process. I fucking lose her all the time. This step is absolutely cancerous because oftentimes you don't actually know where these items are unless you're one of those people that pays attention to each and every single detail across the entire map throughout the entire game. I'm not one of those people. There's often just random obscure items laying around that you have to keep track of, which obviously for the average player is an issue. It'd be different if there were 1 or 2 possible items, but there are a dozen of them, and what it ends up turning into every single time is a scavenger hunt, which is irritating, especially for people who aren't even familiar with the map or the game. Yesterday when I was playing this map, I got a newspaper scroll as one of the items. I had no fucking idea where that was, and I literally just quit the game. I didn't want to go find it. So this step in particular is nothing but trouble. The other 2 steps are pretty simple. One of them, you're directed towards a specific god statue. You kill a bunch of vampires and are rewarded with one of the tuning forks. And in the other one, you're directed to one of 3 clocks. You activate it and are given the other tuning fork. When you have all 3, you can then enter the forest, and you're met with this motherfucker. We'll get to Big Head here later. My point is, pack-a-punching on this map can be easy, depending on what items you get, but usually it's very irritating. Pack-a-punching this map can be an absolute nightmare. It's either look up a YouTube tutorial or go on a scavenger hunt if you don't know where one of the very many items are. I'm not gonna lie, at times it can be fun. I just walk around pretending I'm Sherlock Holmes, trying to solve this fucked up puzzle, grab a piece here, grab a piece there. Sometimes it works out and it's beautiful. I love that concept. But at the end of the day, what it always ends up turning into is a tedious scavenger hunt that not everybody has the patience for, especially beginners, especially for casuals. The majority of the community are casuals after all. And speaking of many items, oh my god, on Dead of the Night, you have to find what feels like 1,000 different parts. You have the 3 tuning forks, you have the shield parts, you have the silver bullet parts, you have all of the upgradable parts for the Alistair's Foley, and there's a lot of other side quests that you can choose to do, like getting the vampire stakes and other things that require grabbing a lot more parts. It doesn't seem like a lot when I list them off, but let me tell you, it feels like an endless search. Now, it'd be one thing if you only had to grab a couple of the pieces for survival, but you need the vast majority of them. If you don't have a shield on this map, you're fucked. You are fucked without a shield. You really need silver bullets to kill those werewolves, otherwise, good luck, man. They spawn in pretty frequently, and they are bullet sponges. The Nosferatus, if you want to kill those efficiently, the vampire stake is almost necessary. So the fact that there are so many parts, combined with the fact that you have to grab them, really rubs the player the wrong way. In theory, the more parts, the more things to build, the better. But in reality, what it ends up creating are disgruntled casual players. I mean, casual players hop on this map and they go, look how many fucking parts I have to grab. I don't know where any of this is. I just have to walk along the border of the map holding square or X. And what casual players end up doing instead of going on this seemingly endless search is just quitting. Why play this map when you can go play another one that's a lot simpler? So, what we have so far is a pack-a-punch process that oftentimes turns into a scavenger hunt in which nobody wants to participate in, alongside a million different pieces you need to grab for your survival. Not a great combination. The majority of players don't like this map for that exact reason. And here is the incoming argument, which is, Tim, there are other maps out there, such as Origins, for example, that have a million different parts to grab. Yet you applaud those maps, and those maps are considered the best. What's the difference? Well, the difference is on Origins, I'm getting 4 ultimate stabs that essentially deal infinite damage, right? And then on Dead of the Night, you're given an Alistair's Foley. Huge discrepancy there. I mean, the Alistair's Foley is a unique wonder weapon. I personally enjoy it, but it's nothing in comparison. When I do all of that work and put in all of that effort on Origins, I'm rewarded greatly for it. When I do the same on Dead of the Night, I'm usually just slapped in the face. One thing I really do enjoy about Dead of the Night is the atmosphere. I mean, is there another one out there like Dead of the Night? Being in this giant mansion filled with different monsters and ghouls. I mean, it's a really unique idea. Aesthetically, it's quite beautiful. It gives you a very vibrant, warm feeling on the inside. Everything looks very nice, and on the outside, you have the very spooky forest in contrast. I think the color scheme is fantastic, and it really does give off a nice, spooky zombies vibe. It's not scary, but it gives you that perfect level of creepy, but also very comfortable. I love that in a zombies map. The atmosphere is very well done. And on top of that, the design actually flows surprisingly well. You would think that a map like this, where it's just a giant building, wouldn't flow this seamlessly. It's actually very well done. You sort of just drift in and out of the rooms without even thinking about it, and that's when you know that a map is very well designed. I actually have no complaints when it comes to the design itself. Dead of the Night actually did that correctly, which is a big thing to do correctly, so I'll applaud it for that. With that all being said, there is one thing. There is one particular reason why I can't stand Dead of the Night. There is one driving force as to why Tim doesn't play Dead of the Night, and that's the Nosferatus. These motherfuckers. Vampires, Nosferatus, whatever you want to refer to them as. Treyarch, why did you add them in the map? They make sense aesthetically, in terms of atmosphere. You know, vampires in a big, scary monster house. It all makes sense to me, right? And, you know, maybe they would work if there weren't so many of them, but Jesus, man. There's 1,000 of these motherfuckers crawling in the map every single round. They're absolutely everywhere. At every single turn, one of these motherfuckers are standing there. They jump on you, they scratch you, there's blood all over your screen, you can't see properly. They lunge at you, they're quick, they're nimble, they're hard to shoot sometimes. They're literally denizens, but bigger and stronger. Denizens were deemed as the most annoying boss of all time. These are just denizens that are bigger. So effectively, the Nosferatus are the worst boss zombie of all time. I mean, it's like having, how do I describe this? I don't have an STI. I don't have any sexual transmitted infections or diseases, but I imagine that this is what it would feel like. I seriously, genuinely think that the Nosferatus ruined Dead of the Night. For a lot of people out there, too, this is not an unpopular opinion. Ask a lot of people out there that the Nosferatus, that could just be the title of this. Nosferatus fucking ruined it. Without silver bullets, the werewolves are difficult to shoot down, but they don't spawn in nearly as frequently, and I don't see them as much of an issue. I think they're pretty cool. I think they add a minor chaos to this map. The Catalyst Zombies, as many of you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of either. I think they add nothing and take away a lot. The Nosferatus, however, they take the cake. Absolute worst boss in Call of Duty Zombies history. Fucking terrible in every way. So, the boss zombies, sorry to lump you in, werewolves, but the Dead of the Night boss zombies take away so much of this experience. It's really just the quantity of them that ruins this map for me. I feel as though people don't talk about it enough, but the Nosferatus to me are the driving force as to why I personally don't play, and it's just another one of the many reasons as to why Dead of the Night isn't a very good map. Black Ops 4 Zombies has a lot of issues that have nothing to do with Dead of the Night and has everything to do with the game mechanics themselves. I've made a video talking extensively of just that. But what Dead of the Night did was ruin Black Ops 4 Zombies going forward. You see, DLC 1, like I said, is the ultimate first impression. And they didn't even market it. DLC 1 fell flat, and then DLC 2 fell flat, and then 3, and then 4. It was sort of a domino effect. You have to get the first DLC right, otherwise people's attention span disappears and people leave for other games. And that's what happened with Black Ops 4 Zombies, and that's what happened with Dead of the Night. Now, you can have a good quality map without good marketing, but the map itself wasn't fantastic either. And that is how Dead of the Night ruined Black Ops 4 Zombies. It's not my least favorite map of all time, and I realize there are some hardcore fans and people that would argue that it is the best map in the game. And I'm open to that discussion, but what's not up for discussion is that Dead of the Night shot Black Ops 4 in the foot. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like on the video if you did. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. I realize a lot of these Black Ops 4 analysis videos are negative. They're not all negative. In fact, of the 4 I did, 2 of them, half of them, were positive. But I really appreciate you listening through even if you disagreed. I gotta go. Thank you guys so much. Peace out.